campaign of retribution that he talked about when he was running, and some are pushing for more traditional Republican names. We'll have to see how it plays out, but certainly Trump is going to let this play out in public. You will see something of a version of the apprenticed West Wing, where eventually he is going to be interviewing the top candidates for those major positions, and then with some drama unveiling who will be his choice.
And John, you can say that because we have seen a Trump presidency before, but the American people spoke overwhelmingly, clearly. John, you said that in a lot of places it was even many people voting for Democrats, but at the top of the ticket going for now President-elect Trump. You talked this week with Charlamagne tha God. Tell me about that conversation. What does he say about the Democratic Party now?
Fascinating conversation. First of all, I think one thing that was interesting, look, Charlamagne was a absolutely adamant supporter of Kamala Harris, knows Kamala Harris, went out and endorsed her, actually, and interviewed her a couple of times during the final weeks of the campaign, was pushing heavily for her. But he tells me that he's actually optimistic. You know, he says, look, he has no choice. You've got to be optimistic. And he talks about how the Democratic Party abandoned the core constituencies that make up who Democrats are, who we thought Democrats were. Obviously, Latinos, obviously young voters, and some of the crosstabs are quite remarkable when you look at the different groups. Trump did better among women. Did better among women this time than when he was running against Joe Biden. He still lost women, but he did better than he did 4 years ago. By the way, one thing we have never seen before, Janae, is we've never seen a Donald Trump presidency where Trump isn't running for re-election. He announced he was running again the day he was inaugurated in 2017. So I wonder how that kind of changes, if it does, his mindset. You know, we will see, because everything could be seen in that first Trump term through the lens of what was going to help him win re-election. And I just don't know how that affects how he's going to approach his presidency this time around.
And that's what's so fascinating about this point, because he has won with so many more of the American people. That is a huge stamp of approval for Donald Trump. What could he do? I mean, well, John, what are you hearing from insiders about? He is someone who is loyal to his base.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the other thing that we've never seen before is a Donald Trump elected president where the majority of Americans voted for him. You know, the popular vote victory is significant. Remember, he lost the popular vote pretty decisively against Hillary Clinton. I mean, there were by 4 million votes. So, you know, on this week, Chris Christie made a very, I thought, a very interesting observation about this, which is, you know, Trump talks a lot about retribution. He spoke to that base, that fervent base that wanted, you know, the mass deportations, to go out and prosecute his enemies. Remember, Trump said, "I am your retribution." But there's another thing about Trump, essential to his being, and that is he wants to be loved. He wants approval. He wants the adoration of those around him. And now you see a Donald Trump who comes in possibly with slightly less of a chip on his shoulder because of the size of his victory. Again, we'll see.
We will see. John, I once heard the greatest revenge is success, and he certainly had some. John Karl, thank you so much. Make sure to tune into this week. John will be speaking with Trump ally Vivek Ramaswamy, and he'll have that interview with Charlamagne tha God on how the Democratic Party moves forward from here. For now, though, turning to the Middle East, dozens killed and wounded in an Israeli strike on a house overnight. Medical officials say the strike targeted a building which was sheltering displaced people. The IDF says it was targeting Hamas fighters in that area. This comes shortly after Qatar says it suspended its mediation efforts between Hamas and Israel due to growing frustration with the lack of progress on a ceasefire deal for Gaza. And overnight, one person has died, several others were injured in a shooting at Tuskegee University in Alabama. The school confirming that the victim who died was not affiliated with the university, but that multiple students were injured. The university says it's in the process of notifying parents, and the Alabama Bureau of Investigations is on the scene, but no arrests have been made. The historically black university was celebrating its 100th homecoming this weekend. Hate to hear about that. Still coming up here, preparing for the president-elect's return. Which campaign promises brought the most support and the expectations for the next 4 years? Also ahead, Princess Kate at Britain's Remembrance Day event. And look at her return since completing her chemotherapy treatment.